All right, I guess I got the cue. It's time to go. Actually, it's probably been more than time to go, huh? All right, well, we'll get started. Boston College, really good college hockey game. The ups and downs, unfortunately, we finished on the wrong side of it, but it was a heck of a game. I thought the intensity of the game, the pace of the game, the physicality of the game, it was a very physical game. And obviously, you don't ever want to fall behind as we did 4-1. But certainly, I liked how we fought back and climbed back into the game to put us really in a good position. And we weren't able to take advantage of that power play we earned. And then obviously we took a penalty that gave them a power play, and they did take advantage of it. So can't make those kinds of mistakes against a talented team like BC. And oftentimes win on the road, and we weren't able to get out of there with a win. But there was a lot to like in our game, and we're going to focus on trying to improve those areas that we didn't do so well or mistakes that we made, and certainly continue to build on the areas that are kind of evolving that we like. So Michigan Tech, they're a hard-working, well-organized team that competes really hard. And they play physically. They play with good structure. Last year they scored a fair bit. This year, I don't think they're scoring early in the year as much as they did early last year. But they play very tough defensively, and they're scoring enough to win. They have a good power play. So we know that they'll come here hungry to have success. It's another important series for us in out-of-conference play. And, last time we went up there, we didn't have success. So it's important that we continue to improve our game. So we have lots of respect for their team. With that, what do you got?
Tom, you and Mel have both been at your respective programs for about the same amount of time, and you've both been big parts of hockey in the state of Michigan for almost your entire career. So just what's your relationship like with Mel Pearson and the fact that you guys play each other so often?
I have lots of respect for Mel. I don't have a long relationship with him other than, kind of like when I was commissioner and I would deal with the coaches in the different leagues. I dealt more with the head coaches than I did the assistant coaches. I certainly have lots of respect for Mel. He's had a terrific career. He's done a nice job at Michigan Tech. He's in a leadership role now on the NCAA championship tournament committee, and he's doing a good job with that. And so I know he'll have their team very well prepared when they come here. He's a terrific recruiter at Michigan, and certainly one of the reasons that their team elevated over the years to the level that they did. And so I've got lots of respect for Mel, and expect he'll have his team ready to play here.
Tom, from looking at Tech on video, they're a team that pushes the puck. Are they pretty aggressive? Like a lot of those teams that don't get the high-end talent pretty much try to play defense. But it looked like last year that Tech was really all in for puck control and pushing the puck.
I think they do. I think they try to get the puck out of their zone as soon as possible, and they try to advance the puck in the neutral zone to the offensive zone as soon as possible. They're strong along the boards. They compete real hard. They have players who are very willing to go to those tough areas to try to make plays or score goals. They have an excellent goaltender that they play around, and so I think they have good balance on their team, and I think that they've demonstrated that they can score kind of in different ways. So we have lots of respect for their game, how they play, and how hungry they'll be when they come in here.
Coach, Michigan Tech has a very noteworthy defense. Offense is now starting to become an asset for you. What's going to be your game plan to exploit and attack Michigan Tech's defensive core?
Well, I think good offense starts with a good defense, and so I think we have to continue. We will continue to work on tightening up our defensive ability. I thought there were a lot of good things that we did against Boston College, who's a very explosive offensive team. We had breakdowns that they took advantage of, and we need to clean those types of things up. But we will spend a lot of time this week working on our team defense. With that said, I think our offensive capabilities are emerging in many different ways. We're getting a little bit of depth. The goal scoring and point distribution is kind of being spread around, which is a positive thing. And I think guys are gaining confidence along the way. So I hope we can continue to push that, push the offensive side of the game. It's nice to see us right now averaging over 3 goals a game. We're going to be really tested against a team that's had good early season success, playing good tough defense. But we have to match that defense as well.
About the chemistry over the week developing, but what do you attribute these last 3 games? It seems like just scoring, I don't want to say at will, but after this bye week, so to speak, what's the biggest change you've seen? Was it just a matter of getting healthier, or what have you seen?
I think it's a few things. Getting healthier. I don't want to say we're healthy yet because we still got a few guys banged up, but we're healthier. That was without a doubt a big part of it. I think another part of it is we've got some guys gaining experience, so you're seeing freshmen contributing in meaningful ways, and they've gained experience over the course of the first few weeks of the year. And without a doubt, trying to kind of settle on some line combinations, having the opportunity to do that coming off the injuries that we had has, in my opinion, been very, very helpful. So I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's those things in particular over time. And then certainly having a little bit of success, scoring some goals. Certainly there's nothing like an injection of confidence. And so I think guys are doing a better job of getting to the net, getting to the scoring areas, thinking about shooting the puck when they get to those areas rather than always trying to make that one more play and try to find the perfect pass. So I think it's a series of things that have led to our growth in improving our scoring ability.
Looking at the notes, I always read the notes. Michigan Tech hasn't played here since 1986? Is that true?
1986, yeah.
Wow.
Because they changed leagues. When I came to Michigan State in 1981-82, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Michigan Tech, and Michigan all left the WCHA and came to the CCHA. And so we competed against each other during that time period, and then it must have been 86, 87 that they changed leagues. I don't remember. I was gone by then. But at some point they changed leagues, and they went back into the WCHA. And then for whatever reason, for years and years and years, the only competition really took place at the Great Lakes Tournament.
Do you believe scoring is contagious, and as more guys score, it catches on? I remember you talking last year. You were actually working in practice on how guys should shoot differently and look for certain things. Are you seeing that come together now a little bit with your team?
I think it can be contagious. I definitely think it's a skill set. Scoring goals is a skill set, but scoring goals is also a desire and a mindset. And getting to the areas that give you a chance to score. I mean, we could tell every player, which we do, the probability of scoring from certain areas on the ice. And it wouldn't come to any surprise if I put a heat map up. You guys would say, well, duh. Of course you're going to score more here than you are out here. But people work to defend those areas hard, so you got to pay a real price to get to those areas. And when you do get to those areas and a puck comes to you, you have to be ready to shoot the puck because there's not a lot of time there to make a play. And so I think that's an area that we've tried to spend more time on. We've tried to place more emphasis on. If you talk to guys like Ebbing and probably Ebbing and Cox and McEachern, a lot of guys, I'm constantly badgering them over thinking about shooting the puck more when they get to that area. And I still think we can be much improved over where we are, but I do think our mindset is improving in that area. And then when guys have success doing those things, it rewards you and it feeds that mentality a little bit more. So it's nice to see a little bit of early season success.
So this isn't like basketball. Not everyone wants to shoot, huh?
No, surprisingly no. And guys are looking for that next play or a better shot or a better opportunity. And in today's game in particular, believe it or not, there are plays off the goalie where maybe you don't have a pass to somebody, but you're going to put the puck off the pads of the goalie to try to get it into a position where somebody can get a rebound. So a lot of goals are not scored on direct shots; they're scored on rebounds. And you got to score goals in all different ways. But that's really becoming a more prevalent play in the game than it ever has before. So, again, that's a mindset when you come in to even consider that as an option, and not everybody has it.
Coach, according to the stat sheet here, you guys are averaging 2.78 goals allowed per game. Can you explain why your team defense is not at the same level as it was last year? Because last year, you guys were rarely scored on. It'd be crazy to see you guys give up 3 goals a game.
Oh, I think that evolves over a period of time. I think that, we have made a couple of adjustments to how we play to see if we could enhance our offensive productivity. And I can't sit here and tell you with 100% certainty that it has done that. And maybe it's created a little bit greater risk at how we're playing. I think our personnel is a little bit different, and guys are playing more minutes back on defense than they played before, and so that's going to take them some time to adapt to that, and maybe playing, some guys who might have played against third and fourth lines on the other team are playing against first and second lines on the other team. That's going to take some adaptation. We're introducing, obviously, some new players into the lineup. So there's lots of things. Last year we had a very small freshman class. This year we have a little larger freshman class. They're learning our system a little bit too. And so I don't think it's any one thing. I'd like to see that number kind of go down, obviously, to get closer to 2. And if we're closer to 2 and we can keep our offensive end, above 3, I think we'll win lots of games. But that's kind of a work in progress right now.
John, wouldn't part of that be the fact that you're playing higher end competition and you've also given up like 2 or 3 empty net goals?
Yeah, I think, empty net plays into it. I think the competition, the schedule, plays into it a little bit. So I think all of those things are pieces. I don't think there's this one glaring thing that has all of a sudden caused our goals against to creep up a little bit. I don't think that's been the case. But I think it's all of those things we just talked about, and certainly giving credit to the competition makes sense.
Now, the last time Tech played here, when you played, was a CCHA playoff series in '84, your junior year. Do you remember playing against those guys, and what was it like in the games that you did play against them?
Yeah, I don't remember that specifically. I will tell you that, but I do remember playing against them in the GLI all the time, and they were tough to play against. They competed. They had good teams. They competed really hard. They were strong physically. They played at a high pace. You had to pay a price to make a play, and I thought those were real fun games to play in. Actually, at that time, that was probably a bigger game in the GLI than if we had played Michigan, and Tech's program. I'm not sure at that time when they were coming off their last kind of national tournament, national championship. Was probably in the late 70s or thereabouts. 81. But they had large crowds coming down to Detroit for that tournament, so it created a pretty darn festive, fun environment to play in. And I remember that real clearly. I think it was Tech that at the time we played them down there, and it set the all-time largest single game attendance record in North American hockey. NHL or whatever level of hockey. I think we had like 21,000 people in there. And that was in the early 80s. So those are my memories of the Tech games. I remember playing up there, and it was a tough place to play. So they've got a rich hockey history, and it's nice to have them back on the schedule.
Tom, with Tech and then looking forward to North Dakota the weekend after, you guys have 4 non-conference games left before you kick off the Big Ten season at Penn State. Now, are there any benchmarks or anything specific you're looking for from your guys over the next 4 games to say, well, we're ready to compete against Big Ten competition?
Our goal is to win as much as we possibly can. Obviously, you go in hoping to win, planning to win every single game. But I think in the big picture, the most important thing is that your team continues to get better every week. And I really believe that we've been doing that. So that's a good thing. I thought, we started relatively strong for a first weekend. And then we stumbled in week 2 and week 3, out in Denver and certainly here at home against Lake Superior. We had the time off, and I think we've been growing as a team since that time. Both, our health has improved, our chemistry has improved as a team, and I think our understanding of how we play and who we are continues to evolve. So we want that to continue to stay on an incline because as the season progresses, you got to get better, but you got to win along the way too, in getting better. And so that's what our focus is on, each week getting better.
I'm just wondering your thoughts on Meet the Spartans last night, doing it in that format rather than what you've done in previous years with a scrimmage and whatnot, preference and maybe looking at what will be happening in the years to come with fan involvement.
You know, this year, we really enjoyed it in the past where we were able to have kind of a dress rehearsal with our green and white game and then afterwards be able to meet the fans. That was always like the ideal setting. Unfortunately, the schedule doesn't always work to allow us to do that. And this year happened to be one of those years. And so there's so much going, and our athletic marketing department really wanted to try to get this done before Thanksgiving. And looking ahead at the schedule and all the different things that go on, it was kind of difficult to find the ideal time. In fact, we did it last night, and we had a radio show last night too, which we typically wouldn't do, but it was the best option available to us. So I think we'll look ahead, and if we can resume a green and white game and incorporate it, that'd be perfect. And if we can't, we'll just look for the best possible date to open it up and have that event.
Why is it Saturday, Sunday?
Trying to remember the reasons. I can't remember if it was related to just other events on campus, football, knowing that football game, could have real major ramifications in the Big Ten and nationally. So I think it was a combination of a lot of different things, and it probably just worked out best that way. It could have been, and I'm totally speculating when I say this too, is like with North Dakota, I think we're playing on Friday and on Sunday, and maybe that didn't necessarily work for Michigan Tech to spend the extra day here too. That might have been part of it, rather than play Friday, Sunday. So I'm not exactly sure, but that's it's kind of bought us a day during the week, this week anyway.
Coach, early signing period for the National Letter of Intent. According to the press release, you've signed 5. Can you talk about your new players that will be coming in next year?
Yeah, we're real excited about this group, and so this is out now. I can actually speak about it, but it's a good group. It continues in the direction that we've been focusing on, and that is improve our skill set, find guys who can play at a high pace with high hockey intelligence. Add the different dynamics you need. You need specialists on your team. You need toughness, and they have what we consider to be Spartan DNA. Like competitors, love the game. They're rink rats. Love to be around the rink. All committed students. So we really like the group. We think if I went down the list to answer your question, and I'll start with who do we got first on this one? John Letherman. He's a goaltender, big kid. Plays your prototypical style that you see in goalies now. Technically very sound. Has important experience on winning, and he won a Michigan high school state championship literally on his back. Like he carried the team on his back, and I can't remember the number, but he stopped an ungodly number of shots in the whole state tournament to go on to pull this huge upset to win. And he's gone on to become a darn good goaltender at the junior level. So really we kind of had him lined up a year ago in the event. He was of the age that if by chance Hildy signed, he would have signed and left to go pro. He would have come in to replace him. So when Hildy returned, he went back to play junior, and we look forward to he'll come in and compete. Like he'll have a chance to compete, and him and Ed will be a nice tandem. Both those guys will be big guys. They fill the net. Mitch Elliott, he's a player I've known for many years since he was a young guy. Good skater, smart player, really good teammate. Like he's usually a leader on every team that he's on. He made an international team for USA Hockey. They named him captain of it. Tough, fierce competitor. real student of the game, like cares about the game, cares about his teammates, and carries a nice shot from the point too. Like he's a guy, I wouldn't call him necessarily he's not playing a power play role right now on his junior team. He's a young guy on that team, and yet, I watched him in youth hockey. Can one-time pucks, can get pucks through, which is an important skill for a defenseman today. So we're real excited about him. Another defenseman is Ty Farmer. Ty is a very strong skating defenseman, good puck mover, gets up the ice. In fact, I watched him in the U.S. National camps this summer. It was funny. Him and another guy that I can't mention, but they were playing together, and they had a 2-on-0. They're two defensemen. They had a 2-on-0. So he gets up the ice. He can make good plays. He's got the skill and the vision, the shot, the puck-moving ability to play on the power play, and yet his skating ability is so strong that he's a real good defender. I know talking to kids, really good players, as they were growing up, and you'd ask kids when they'd come in here on visits, who are the toughest kids to play against defensively, and oftentimes they'd mention Ty Farmer, unsolicited. And so, I look for him to have a really good career here too. We've got Taro Hiroshi. He is a very skilled, high hockey intellect player. He's probably, a more cerebral player than we have here. Real good on the power play, incredible vision. He uses his intelligence to be able to get in the right place at the right time, both offensively and to play defensively. And I think he'll make a big impact on our team. He's a player that he's a style of player we probably don't have on our team right now and haven't had here in a while. And I think he will add an offensive dynamic. Not so much that he's so flashy, but he makes players around him better, and he's a good puck distributor. And like right now, I think he's got, in 20 games, he's got like 4 or 5 goals and like 20-some assists. So, those are good numbers. He can play center or wing. Yeah, he can play center. He's not a real big guy. He doesn't play with a lot of physicality, but he's real smart.
In terms of past Spartans, who would you compare Hirosi's skill set to?
Oh, jeez.
Kind of comparison.
Boy, that's a real good question. I'll have to think about that one and get one. Well, oftentimes we look at guys and we try to come. I don't know. I think Sean Barron's played a little bit different style than he did. Like, he's the first guy that I thought of, but I'm not sure that would be the ideal equivalent. But very intelligent player. Like Steve Sook was a very intelligent player here. Like he moved the puck, and I think Taro's a little different than him too. But kind of the same hockey mind and vision, at least for sure. And then we have Sam Saliba. He plays for Green Bay. He's the captain of their team, and he's a hard-working. He's got a real diverse game. He plays on the power play. He kills penalties. He's good 5-on-5. He's a good teammate. He has a very high work ethic. I was real impressed when we had him on campus as part of his recruitment process and visit was just his personality. He's real outgoing, very engaging. He connected well with anybody he associated with. One of his childhood closest friends is Matt Morrissey on our football team. They grew up. They're still best buddies today. And so I think he's really excited about being a Spartan, and that's important to us too. So that's the group we have to date. We still may sign another player or two, or 3 maybe even before the end of the year. For next year, we'll just have to see what our needs are. But I think that's a terrific start. That's one of the reasons, yeah. That's one of the reasons.
Saliba's a top 20 point getter with the USHL as of right now, I believe.
Yeah, he's having a good season. He's producing points, and I think he has that capability. Like, he can come in here. I think he can play good defensively as a center. I think he can, like I said, play in all situations. So I think that gives him a chance when he comes here to to be able to make an impact and kind of find his groove. And over time, like most players, your game will evolve. But, he's demonstrated at that level, and that's the USHL is an outstanding league. It's a tough league to play in, well coached. Competition is difficult. So if you're having success there, it's positioning you well to have success at this level.
If I remember correctly, I think Hiroshi and Saliba are the two guys who got commitments from early last summer, and maybe a year behind. And so if my time frame is off, please correct me. But is there something maybe changing here that you're maybe identifying players a little bit later and picking up maybe diamonds in the rough, perchance, in terms of the recruiting process?
Oh, I think that's a process that's always evolving, and it's evolving on many fronts. One front is that there's probably more and more players who are considered late developers than ever before, and they're starting to bubble at different times. I think trying to balance identifying young prospects and trying to forecast when, in fact, they'll be ready to come to school is not such an easy process. And, you try to hedge that a little bit as you go along. And then, just certainly how your needs may change over a period of time, how somebody may evolve, what the needs on your team, you might anticipate it's going to be one thing and it may become something different. Certainly coming into this season, 6 months ago, we didn't anticipate that we could lose potentially 3 defensemen for this year, So that creates a dynamic that you're trying to kind of wrestle with and how you make responses. So there's a lot that goes into that, and certainly I don't think you could say that we're just focused on older players, because we're not. We've got a number of young guys too.
What you just said, don't give me guys that are dying to be here as opposed to begging them to be here. You like that, right?
Without a doubt. And to me, that's a big part of just even in the identification process. We want people who fit our DNA, who this is where they want to be. They're passionate about being here. They're passionate about the game. And I think we're starting to see all that come to fruition here. I think you're seeing guys continue to grow in their roles here and make a greater impact. So you got to be patient with that. It takes time. But I would much rather have somebody who really wants to be here. This is where they want to be, because you want people to be all in. The time goes by so fast. They got to be all in. And I feel that all these guys are there.
You were that,
I was that, yeah. Now, again, when I went to it, I didn't know anything about Michigan State. And I fell in love with it when I came on campus the first time and met the people and met the coaches. They're the ones who got me fired up about it. But when I left here, I knew that and I had some pretty good visits at the other places I visited, but there was just something about this place that stood out. And at the time, this school and this program was winning less than any other school I had an opportunity to go to. I just felt this was the right place to be, and the direction was right.
Rick Pitino's recruits say the same.
You visited Tech, right?
Next question.
You visited Michigan Tech?
I did visit Michigan Tech. Yeah, they were one of my 5 visits.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
You had Michigan, Michigan Tech, Michigan State?
Who else?
Notre Dame and Yale.
Yale.
Who finished second? Tech?
There was no second. Michigan State.
Good answer.